is an early photograph, I believe, of you in a little tiny car going down Cawston High Street.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that at all?
That was a pedal car that Dad got from Managton's in Norwich, and it was made by disabled miners in North Wales at the old Nuffield radiator factory, which was part of the BMC, British Motor Corporation group then. And they made these lovely little pedal cars, like a miniature Austin Devon pedal car. And I can see him now lifting this thing out the back of his Morris Oxford estate at the bottom of our yard. I just could not believe that this perfect replica of an Austin Devon
little pedal car.
That was my birthday and Christmas present rolled into one. I think it was 1952 because Mr. Boggis, who was our sort of foreman carpenter at that time, he built a coronation coach with 4 horses that fitted on top of this pedal car, and I was actually in the Cawston coronation celebrations, pedalling like hell.
Well, my Uncle Tom Doin, when I was a little boy, he used to go round Cawston with his horse and cart, taking the coal round people's houses. Yeah. And when I was a little boy, he used to sit me on the coal sacks on our cart, and he would sit on the coal sacks and he used to go round delivering the coal. But the old horse that'd never go past the pub.
Why?
Because Tom liked the pint. He used to go in the pubs and have a pint, and he never tied the horse up, and he used to bring me either a ginger beer or a small lemon out, and I used to sit on the cart and have that till he'd had his couple of pints. Then he'd come out, sit his bum on the cart and just go, and the old horse would take him to the next customer.
Can you describe any of the houses you lived in?
Yes, well, we lived in just one house, actually. We had a pump in the garden, and you had to go out and get buckets of water, and you used those buckets of water for washing, for tea, and it took 6 buckets of water to fill a Burco boiler, so she would have to walk outside 3 times, fill it up, and that would be the start of washing. So funnily enough, washing took all day on a Monday. We used to go to Great Yarmouth on the Sunday school treat every year, and that's my dad, and that's me and my brother. And my dad loved looking after children. He was a teacher, so it helped. That's my sister with me as a baby, and she was always like that, very kind and motherly, and a lovely big sister. My sister was always keen to sunbathe, but my brother and I didn't really understand what she meant, but we pretended we were doing it anyway. We often had tea outside on the grass. It's me, brother, sister, mum and dad. Obviously, you still go to bonfires and stuff like that, but we all had our own in those days. You'd have a bonfire in the backyard for Guy Fawkes. Then we made a guy with Dad's old jacket and trousers and a horrible mask, and Mother always used to take photographs, so that was penny for the guy. Once I had to play the Virgin Mary, and there I am with my doll, and Mum always took pictures of us in plays and things, but it doesn't look like December, does it? But it was in the back garden there. Nearly every Sunday we would go to the seaside, and for us it was a big treat to have our tea on the beach. It sounds funny, doesn't it? But then we'd play games and French cricket and swim, do all the things you do, but that was us on the beach.
There was a meadow on the right. We could get in even if we shouldn't, and underneath the big trees, like a lovely oak tree or chestnut tree, the cattle would get in the shade because we had hot summers in those days. My brothers would climb and dare me to climb. I didn't wear trousers in those days, that was unheard of for girls. And jump down onto the bullocks, not horses, and go galloping off as they went up, and then the back legs of the creature would come up and they were tossed off. But no one ever hurt themselves doing that.
And you always ended up the right way round when you landed on it?
Not me. If there was anything untoward, I was there.
And did you have a toilet inside or outside the house?
Across the yard. I laugh about it now because I had a brother who was a little humbug, really. and there was a brick wall to prevent the meadow actually coming into the big yard. And if he knew we were gone across this to the toilet, he'd get mask and put it on and torch and climb this wall and frighten us, the younger ones, to death.
I was born just down out the village, just Ratcatchers Row, which is all gone, down by the Ratcatchers pub. But I was 4 when my parents moved up here to Cawston, and that's where I've been ever since. We used to go to Yarmouth once a year. We used to have 6pence to spend. Yeah, 6pence.
What would you spend your 6pence on?
Ice cream would be one thing, I suppose.
The thing which stick out in my mind the most would be the beach parties. That was really lovely. You stood on top of the cliff and you hear the music going. You see all these people dancing around this fire. The fairy lights or lights along the coast, and the moon was glittering on the water. That was absolutely fantastic.
That was in the bottom of my garden when I lived at home. And of course, this was harvest time. There's the old binder, look. But this is all Marshall Hard Close now. And this was at the back of it came from our house, this was the back of our garden. Because when they cut the corn, we were all there, waiting for the rabbits to come out at the end. And these are 2 of my sisters are on here, and friends. We all lived sort of in the same road.
When I was very, very young, they used to cut the corn with what was called then a binder, which they used to go round and round until they got to a bit in the middle where the rabbits were. We would then get a stick, so about 3 foot long, with a knot on. Had to have a knot on it. And when the rabbits ran out, when they got to the middle, you chase the rabbits, knock them on the head, take them home for my mother to skin and cook.
Of course, I used to go beating down at Hayden. Do you know what beating is? When you go beating the pheasants up for the guns. And the men who used to come to shoot the pheasants, they were rich old boys, they were.
Yeah.
And they used to like us boys who used to go beating, and they used to bring things for us. And one Christmas, one of these guns brought me a football. A proper football.
Really?
Yeah. Of course, all the boys liked me then because I had a football, and I could take that down there so they could play, didn't they? That's our football team. I think that was 1956, and that's me there. And we used to mark all the football pitches out with sawdust. That's right.
That would be awesome.
As children, my brother and I used to have to single out the sugar beet by hand. If they howled, and then there were 2, what they called single sugar beet, singling. We used to have to go along the rows and single a sugar beet. He grew all vegetables, and I used to come up to the Cawston on a Saturday morning and bring different people, sell the vegetables.
How did you get up here? Did you walk?
Oh, that's not far, was it?
Well, hang you on a minute. You got all the vegetables with you. So how would you transport them?
Well, carry them.
You hadn't even got a bike. You hadn't even got a car.
Oh yes, I did have a bike.
Did you have any play with any toys when you was younger?
I had a doll's pram. But we didn't have a lot of toys. There weren't enough money, you know, for toys. Now, I remember my first bicycle my dad got from somebody's scrap heap for 5 shillings. But they got me from A to B.
We used to save our money, and my first bike I managed to buy, I think I was about, well, I must have been about 13 years old when I bought my first, and that was £27. I know how much it was. So you think how many hours I worked at Shulnan to buy that first bike. We'd cycle up to the Speedway at Norwich.
What?
And we used to go to bike to Elsham Pictures.
Really?
Yeah, sometimes twice a week.
I think the furthest I've ever been on my bike is a bit further than Swannington.
Is it?
Yeah.